Holly ho guys, your mate Diarmu here, and I know this video probably isn't normally what I produce. Any sort of video in any sort of sense is a bit uncommon for me, but today I guess I wanted to talk about a bit of Leaving Cert because I know that there's a lot of misinformation coming around and surrounding it right now, and thus I wanted to talk a bit about that, as well as I guess give a bit of an update about in the streaming side of things. I'll put that at the end on where I'm thinking of going with that. I'll hop on with Leaving Cert anyway. To help me with that, I've brought out, I guess, a whiteboard because it's going to demonstrate my point very well, like all whiteboards do, except if any of you guys have ever played Scribblio with me before, or any sort of drawing, you'd completely realize that this is going to be absolutely fantastic, knowing on how well I can draw. I guess to start off, this year they're calling it the calculated grade system, and thus your school and your teachers are going to be determining your grade. So just get in a school there because, you know, there we go, it's now emphasized. But then this this grade that your school gives, in summary, is going to go to the SEC, and they're going to determine your final mark. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear the dogs barking right now. I think the dog is done barking, so I'm going to move on from the obviously not. I'm going to go into this later in the video, and for now I'm going to focus on school level. So at school level, you're going to get an exact percentage grade estimation, so it's not going to just be, oh, this person gets a H1. No, they're going to give you the percentage to the exact. So let's say, for example, you get 77, then you get 77, and that's exactly 77. They're, I think, giving you this percentage in order so that when they go to standardize it, they'll be able to move it back down or up depending. And at a school level as well, you're also going to be receiving a class ranking. So if you look at it like you might have, let's say, 25 people in your class. So if you have 25 people in your class, then from what I can tell, it's going to go from hashtag 1 to hashtag number 25. So in that scale, grade that you get, I'm presuming, is also going to correlate with your class ranking. Now, in order for this to work, I was really not intending for that dog to be barking as much as it is, but it is. So then going on from that, they've given you your ranking and your percentage. You're then gonna get the department on that subject that you're doing. All of those teachers are gonna come together and then align. So let's say, for example, each one gives out, I guess, a certain amount of each ones, etc., etc., and they're gonna align that across the classes or across how the school do it. That's from what I can read. And then they are going to send their recommendation to the principal. Now, the principal can't, cannot change the grade himself, so change. He can only send it back to the teachers in said department. And now there's a siren. You know, I really couldn't have predicted this amount of noise coming on during this video. I'm definitely going to have to edit this one down anyway. So at this point I'm just accepting that the dog is barking in the background. So after it gets sent to the T, they can then review it. Sorry if this is slanted. They can then review what changes or problems the principal has wrote. But ultimately it's going to be the teacher's call on what grade comes out of the school. So that's going to finish our school section, and we're going to move on to the national side of things. As you can see, I am a geography student, and this is definitely Ireland to scale. Let's just do that, even though that's completely wrong, and it's probably a bit closer here, but that's NI, and of course this is the rest of Ireland, which is what the SEC, the State Examinations Commission, are going to be looking at. At a national level, so back to the P, he's going to sign off. So he's going to sign it off, and then from there he's going to send it to the SEC, and then the SEC are going to take that, and then the SEC are going to standardize it. Now, by this they mean make it so that according, as they put it, to historic data that they have, they are going to look through that and basically try and even it out, as they have so in the past, where most people are sitting in the top of the bell curve. Be careful if anyone says you're at the top of the bell curve, because that actually means that you're right in the top center at the 50th percentile, and yeah, you probably want to be far right. So they're going to make sure that most people are on that up curve rather than down to the right, and also to the left, since they want it to be a normal distribution, or as close as, since that's ultimately how places are going to determine the points, because of course they're going to be slightly afraid this year of points inflation, where everyone is getting a humongous amount of points, and then if that happens, it's going to really make the CAO system really hard to distinguish between all of the 61,000 candidates for this year's Leaving Cert. And one of them includes me. The mark that is sent from the school, so let's say that as here you've got this H2, or the school says you got this H2, let's say 81. And I guess if there was too many H2s in whatever subject, let's say biology, bird is really loud. Let's say you got 81 H2 in biology. So what happens here is that if they standardize it and there's too many people, because maybe points inflation is happening, what's going to happen here is that they're going to standardize it. So even though your school and your teachers said, oh yeah, 81 H2, in order to make it relevant on a national level and make sure that points inflation doesn't happen, the SEC are possibly, in this case, let's say, going to bring that down, so then you end up with, let's say, 78, which is a H3, if you get what I mean. So by avoiding points inflation, you've gone from a H2 from what the school have sent and what, let's say, you were rank whatever at this point. But then they standardize it, so then you end up with that. So you may be noticing that's why they're saying it might be unfair to discuss results with students right now, since if they did, you'd be like, oh wow, I'm getting a H2 in places. And then in actuality, when they standardize it, you might end up with a lower, or equally if they need to bump up the points, a higher grade at times. Finally, a big topic of, I guess, interest this year, and one that's getting a lot of media attention, is what's going to happen with these appeals. So, I think there's a lot of misinformation coming around this topic in particular. If you appeal, let's say you weren't happy with your grade, let's say, that's made you deeply unsatisfied, so you wish to, I guess, challenge it. What happens here is that in actuality, all they're going to do is check that the data from the SEC are going to check that the data inputted is correct. So this means, for example, I guess, mistypes, I guess, a number, let's say 81, when in actuality it was 71. It's going to be errors like that. It's not going to be challenging what your teachers or the school departments have said, and if they've given you that grade, the SEC are not changing it. So in this sense, the appeal for A here will not change your final grade if the information was inputted correctly. However, of course, if it wasn't, that would be changed. Obviously, you wouldn't want this scenario to happen because that's actually going down. But nonetheless, an appeal doesn't mean that they're going to challenge what the teachers have said on it. They're going to trust that data. So then if you're not happy with that, there's another one here where they send it off to an independent board, and then that gets scrutinized. But that's more on the general process as a whole, I think. So if you're not happy with the grade change here, your next best option is sitting the LC at a later date. But one key thing here is that it will not be in August. I've seen a lot of people talking about how, no, if you don't like the results you get, you just sit it in August. Because they've cancelled the exams for August, they're saying that it's physically not possible to hold the exams in August. So because of that, what's going to happen is that you're going to be able to sit those exams at a time that, as they've said, is that the most practical. Then as a result, you'll be able to sit your leaving cert, and you can sit in how many subjects you wish to sit it in. If you choose to sit your leaving cert, you don't have to sit all subjects, you can sit the ones that you wish to, I guess, improve in more than likely if you're choosing to sit the leaving cert. However, they've stated that your place for college entry will not happen in 2020, but it will happen in 2021. You'll be part of the 2021-2022. Compared to this, if they do find an error here, they're hoping that this is early enough that you'll actually still be able to get in 2020. But if you sit the leaving cert, or even if you go to the second option, which I haven't covered, you're more than likely going to be getting into college in 2021. So just keep that in mind, that if you do sit the leaving cert, you will maybe be taking it as a slight. I've been seeing gap year thrown around. That's really kind of what it will boil down to if you decide to sit the leaving cert in the end. So yeah. And then finally, in regards to, I guess, me and streaming, because of the cancellation of my leaving cert, I'm now going to basically be free most days, for the most part, I guess. Whether that translates into streaming, I don't know. I am not going to give out a timetable just yet, because of course, I don't know how it's going to go. That's basically all I'm going to say on streaming. But hopefully I'm going to get back into it, so if you're interested in, I guess, me streaming, I'll probably be doing that. I probably won't be doing much IT content. I don't know. My editor is a real pain in the ass at times. I'll probably get swamped by all of this noise. I thought it'd be nice to, I guess, film this outside today because it felt like a nice day. So that's why I guess we're because yes, you're here as well, collectively filming this outside. I know this is a bit uncommon for me to film something like this, since most of my other stuff is either really old Overwatch videos, which are really not that great, or FTL, which again, probably not the biggest hit, as well as the recent Star Wars Battlefront compilation I did. So this is in of itself a really uncommon video for me to shoot. Obviously you can probably tell with the amount of birds and dogs and absolutely everything that I've heard through this one. See the bird as well, he's just sitting on the shed losing his mind. So of course I've got big aspirations for I guess coming back to streaming, because that they have cancelled their leaving cert in Ireland. I now have the longest summer break that I ever had, probably going to be close to 5 months. I'll have a lot of time on my hands. The reasons I didn't stream currently is because I didn't have as much time on my hands. I don't know if you know, but there's a big bumblebee right there. Pretty epic. Hopefully it doesn't land on me because I'm wearing bright yellow. Anyway, I'll have 5 months, which is even longer than I would have had off for Montessori or something. Like, I haven't had this much time off since, even in primary school, not a chance. I think I had less time off in primary school. But anyway, I'll have 5 months off, so I'll be really interested to see what I can do with them. Now there's 2 bumblebees. Yeah, I'm not going to really promise anything, but this is promising that I might do something, especially with these 5 months here. Hopefully I'll be coming out with some new content later on down the road, but for now I hope this discussion was sort of helpful and informative to you guys, and yeah, I hope you're all having a scintillating and dandy time, even though of course it's the height of a pandemic. Absolute pain, and I know you probably can't read that because I just wrote it slanted, but so yeah, hopefully you guys are doing okay. And again, if you want to, my friend's podcast, which I'll drop in the description, if you want to watch me stream, I'll be in the same place as always. So until next time, cheerio guys, your mate, Diarmu out.